Hello, welcome back to Aether. This is Satomi and Paul from sakaso.ca. We're a little bit late and some stuff happened.
Little technical issue.
Technical issues.
I clicked the wrong button.
So we have to create a new link. And so hopefully people find us here, a new link. And so you can join or somebody's joining. That's great. So anyway, we're just starting today's episode. So today, what does it take to help heal? Part 4. So
And today's
focus
is all about there is no achievement.
There's no achievement
Yeah.
in specifically healing.
Yes. Yeah. So in other words, healing is not about achievement. It's somehow deeply ingrained in all of us, I think.
Yeah, anything, right? You have to achieve.
Yeah.
To be better and to be whatever, to have better life. It could be financial, health, or anything, right? Achievement is the answer, right? So
well, I think it probably comes from the messaging we get right from birth, right? That we need to learn. We need to, learn how to walk and talk and behave, right? No, you're not allowed to do this, right? And behave. So you got to learn how to behave and get rewarded for that. So and you've got to work hard. You've got to learn how to apply yourself and work hard and all. Not that those things are negative in and of themselves. Of course, that's part of learning how to be. But the messaging that comes along with it, and in school, right? You're always achieving good marks, right? You're always completing the assignment. You're always working on it, and you're getting good marks on the exam and all that kind of stuff. And then you do that at work too, right? It happens with your workplace. So it's like all through life, it's all about achievement, right? It's all about acquiring things in our material world as well, right? Like in Western culture, it's all about acquisition and achievement, right? And that's the ticket to moving forward in life. And we don't really get the message that we already have the answers, that we already have what it takes, that we have something inside of us that's really kind of miraculous, right? Something that's of immeasurable value. And what we don't hear is that, the reason why we don't access it so much, or we forget how to access it, is that we put things between us and that beautiful something that's in us, right? That magic that's in us. So that's what today's really all about. Somehow we need to get past that. Like I can say for sure that in my own case, and I'll explain how that worked later as we go through this, that the more I focused on achievement, the more I got in my own way at a certain point, right? Like, sure, yes, you want to apply yourself, and but that's different than achieving something. Applying yourself and practicing is different than achieving, right?
Okay.
So it's practice that matters, not becoming something that I'm not already. Because and we see that like also in the movies too, right? So like, who is it in the movie that the hero is always achieving something? He's always overcoming some monster. He's always, rescuing the fair maiden in distress. He's always, getting the bad guy, right? But those are all heroic achievements, right? So we're kind of, that stuff gets in there pretty deeply, that messaging. And when I when I was wanting to heal, I looked at it as an achievement for many years. That's the way I looked at it, right? It took me a long time to come around to the realization that that's not really what was happening, right? When I moved forward, it was through practice, not through achievement. But I didn't make that connection for quite a while, right?
So like achievement, if you how can I say, you we achieve something, but if your perspective is I'm not enough right now, so I have to become a better person, I have to get somewhere, and because I don't have the ability, I have to learn how to have those ability, I have to gain some ability, right? If your perspective is that way, and then you're not gonna get anywhere, you cannot have the ability, you because you are you're not accepting the ability you have, and we all have the ability to heal, ability to learn, ability to improve our skills. Like no baby can walk from day one, right? So it's practice and exercise, and we improve, right? So it's, and then you can call it achievement, but if you're looking at the achievement is, oh, I already have that ability to improve myself, ability to heal myself, I just need to practice. Or if you are looking at yourself like, I don't have it, I don't have that healing power, I cannot heal myself, I cannot do this, so I have to gain something. If you are looking that way, then you are disempowering yourself, disempowering the power that you have. And of course, you cannot use the power because you are denying the power, right? And so you disconnect yourself from the power, and then trying to get somewhere, but your engine is shut, right? Because you say this is not good, right? This engine is not good. It's not working properly. So this is not good. So your engine is shut, and you're trying to get there. There's no way that you can get anywhere.
So yeah, I totally agree with you. When you, if you look at it from the point of view that you have to become something that you are not, then you are automatically accepting that you are not enough. You don't, that you're accepting that you are sick, right? Or you are in some way deficient from being healthy, happy, whole, all those kinds of things, and that you need to acquire something you don't already have. So you're automatically denying that you have it, but then that by doing so, you're automatically preventing yourself from accessing what you already have, and that's the trouble, right? That's exactly the problem. And I guess you can probably, I wonder, just as you're talking, I was wondering, like, okay, so everybody thinks of like a baby learning to walk, right? Everybody thinks of that as an achievement of them becoming something that they weren't before. Is that really true? I have to just wonder. I'm just going to throw that out here. Is the baby acquiring something that it didn't have before, or is it actually simply connecting to something that it already has, or that humanity already has? Like if you think of it like Rupert Sheldrake, he talks about morphic resonance. So basically, that's basically like habits. Everything has habits, and when one person does something, it's easier for the next person to do it. And there's proof of this, really widespread. It's very interesting. So, like in other words, if they administer national tests, right, and they do the test in, let's say, in one state, right? They put the same test out there for like Ohio or something, right? And then they do it later in Kentucky, right? The people in Kentucky, even if they have no knowledge of what happened in Ohio, they will do it better than the people. They'll do it easier and faster and better than the people in Ohio, right? Not by cheating. You can control for that, right? So, and then the same thing is true for every other group after that. It gets so basic that even crystals, like if you invent a new chemical, right, that's never been around before, and then you try to create a crystal from it, right? You distill it down, right, all that kind of stuff, and try to make a crystal. To get a good crystal to form, it has to arrange itself, right? So the first time they do that, it's actually not that easy for it to crystallize. But then later, when somebody replicates that same experiment and creates the same chemical, it crystallizes sooner, faster and easier, and the next time, and the next time, and the next time. So in other words, it's like a pattern that's been set that chemical can tune into and accept and become that crystal, right? And this happens with all kinds of things, and it also like has to do, I think, with people adapting to diseases, right? That kind of thing. So if one person is able to heal themselves from a disease, the next person it becomes easier and easier and easier. So then that disease loses its power, right? So that's why populations get past that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that's an interesting. I got a little off track there.
Yeah,
I know.
So I know, but what your point.
So my point is, that again, it's like if that's what's really going on, then we're also tuning into something that we already have access to, even if it's not within us, right? We have access to this healthy human being, right? That there's lots of healthy people out there, right? People know how to be healthy, and by letting go of one way of being, you can tune into that way of being. So that's another possibility, another way of looking at this. But it doesn't matter which one really is at the root of this. The fact of the matter is still the same, that if you let go rather than achieve, it's not an achievement because the morphic resonance stuff, the way Rupert Sheldrake talks about it, it's all about tuning into that stuff. It's not about achievement. It's not about inventing something new for yourself. It's about tuning in and accepting it that's already there, right? So it's kind of similar to what we're talking about. That's all I'm saying, right? So whichever explanation is, whichever way people want to look at it, we look at it as we already have this, right? We already have this as a part of our nature as a human being, the ability to heal, to be because we look at it as us being authentic spirits, right? As infinite, powerful spirits that are here in these bodies, and we're just allowing more of that to come through by this process of healing rather than achievement. It's very different, right? Those are almost opposite things. Yeah.
So so it got a little bit off track, but you're saying he is saying this, basically saying
it's almost the same thing.
Yeah. But anyway, so it's not an achievement. We have the power within us, and why we have issues and why we have struggle healing ourselves is the blocks that they get in the way of us connecting to the power, connecting to our authentic healing power, right? And then those blocks come in as we grow up. When somebody say, "Oh, what are you doing? You're not supposed to do that," right? And you're just having fun and being yourself, and somebody told you shouldn't be that way, and then your authentic self have negative label, right? This is not good, right? And then you you receive different message, like you had bad marks on the quiz or exam or whatever, and then I'm not good, right? I'm less than my friends, right? And then those things become the block, and then the, little bit by little bit, you're disconnecting yourself from the authentic power, right? So
Oh, we got someone
thank
saying
you,
hi.
yeah, thank you for the comments. And divine life, you believe it's something outside of us, is have to obtain rather than something we just are. Yeah. So we are.
So she's saying it's Anissa.
And it's thank you for comment.
Okay.
So yeah, we we are taught. It's just right, whole our life,
Yeah.
right? You have to gain something from outside. You gotta learn from the teacher. You gotta learn from adults. They know it. You don't know, but they know it, and they know how to do it. You don't know, right? And so you gotta learn so you know it, and then you gotta learn so you can do it, right? So we receive messages that we don't know. We are nothing until we learn something and we gain skills, right? So that's the message that we receive just all the whole life pretty much, and then we believe that we don't have it in us, right? And then that's the block that disconnecting us from our power.
Yeah. And it's also the same is true if you think of someone as a guru, right? Someone else is able to do something that we're not able to do, right? So that's, to us, we would see that as disempowering as well, right? So what we're talking about here is a disempowering way of looking at things, which is I'm not good enough, I don't have it, there's something wrong with me, those kinds of things, a way of looking at it, versus, and when you're in that place, you're thinking like somebody else, you look at them and they say, oh, they have it, I don't, right? They've achieved it, I haven't achieved it. So they've been able to undergo some kind of hero's journey for themselves, and they did it, but you're not there yet. So that's a very disempowering way of looking at things. Like if that person maybe is a guru or something like that. That it's disempowering to think of gurus and followers, because there's nothing about anybody who's like some kind of spiritual leader or anything like that that is special. They've simply gotten out of the way of their authentic self to some degree, whatever that is, right? And that can be said about anybody, right? But we're all to some degree in the way of ourselves or out of the way of ourselves, right? And when someone has insight, it's only because they've gotten some portion of themselves out of the way, right? Some limitations out of the way. So like letting go of that I am less than, right, is a way of getting past that limitation. So I know that's very abstract.
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk more a bit about how, nail us down a little bit better for the audience here. So like this is what we've been saying, is the power to heal is already within us. It's about letting go of what's in the way rather than achieving something. So our perspective is that we already have the power, but we use the power against ourselves, right? How can you tell the difference between somebody who let's just say, theoretically, genuinely doesn't have any power, right? That's the thought that goes along with the need to achieve perspective, right? That perspective is people are less than until they achieve and acquire an ability, right? That's that perspective. Okay, so keep that as one possibility. Another possibility is the person who has power within them, and it's very powerful, but they use that power against themselves, right? Unknowingly, right? So if you have those two situations, if you're using your power against yourself, then you lose your capability. And if you don't have the ability in the first place, you don't have the ability. So it's hard to tell the difference between those two possibilities. So that's why the explanation of, you don't have the ability has kind of captured people's attention over the course of human history, unfortunately. But the reality is this instead, that it's actually that we do have the power, and we've just been using it against ourselves without our own knowledge. And we've been using it against ourselves through subconscious beliefs, right? So that's how that happens.
Yes, but this is not achievement. That was a big one for you, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like one example is like my healing from concussion, right? That took a long time, a lot of practice. But what happened was, like, I would go, one of the ways, so we do lots of subconscious shift work, that kind of stuff that would greatly help. But I had to practice with that subconscious shift, right? And the practice came down to meditation. And in meditation, I would try all different things. And, for a long time, I had the same misconception that I needed to achieve, right? I felt that this was, I had for the longest time the belief that there was something wrong with me, right? And that I needed to achieve something in order to heal, right? So, because what happened was I was really sensitive to light, right? I was really photosensitive, so I wasn't able to drive.
You weren't going outside.
Yeah.
Even you're inside, like all the black curtains and keep everything inside dark. No lights coming into that.
It was bad. It was really bad. I was very photosensitive for a while, right? I felt at that point that the way to fix that was to achieve something, right? But what I needed to do instead was to unlearn, right? That was the real issue, and I needed to unlearn those lessons of something being wrong with me that I needed to achieve. I needed to let go of those things. So how did I do that? So in meditation, I tried all kinds of different things, and there's like when you you have your good days in meditation, you can say, I guess, where you have a really beautiful experience, right? So the next day, you're going to try to recreate that same experience, right? You're going to try to take yourself back there and to achieve that same place. And that does not work. It never does. So it gets frustrating, right? Because you have these little breakthroughs, and then it's frustrating for a while. So what I would do is I'd mix it up. I would say, okay, that whatever it is, something in there I'm doing is not right. So what is it? And I'd try all kinds of different things. And over time, what I eventually realized is that anytime I was trying to focus on when I was focusing on trying, when I was trying to achieve, does not work. The only thing that worked, and you gave me a reading about this before,
times.
More than once.
Many times I
start
to hate you talking about meditation because it's still trying to achieve. And I have to say this again.
So she would give me that message, and it doesn't really compute. It's the funniest thing. And I hope you as an audience are connecting to this message today, because it's very hard for it to compute in our society. But what I did in meditation finally was to simply appreciate the moment that in any given instant for exactly as it is, whatever it is. If I'm just laying there in meditation and just breathing, right? Appreciate that. right? If the music is nice, appreciate that, right? Um, um, that I'm not in a lot of pain, appreciate that, right? Because so whatever the case is, so just appreciate it. Like the air is nice, it's clean, it's not stinky for whatever reason, right? So um, um, so having a calm place and just simply being there and breathing and being relaxed and just being who you are, right? In that place, by appreciating it and being grateful for it and treating that as perfect, as it was, without needing to be any different at all, is what led to the big breakthrough I had in meditation, and to the big breakthrough I had in healing for getting past that concussion.
Mm-hmm.
Because then what it meant was whatever's going on outside around me, all the bright lights and everything, right, when I'm driving in particular, that's okay too, right? It's as it is. Just it being what it is, it's all okay. It's beautiful, it's perfect, right? So appreciating and being grateful for the experience, no matter what the experience is, was the key to doing all that stuff. And that was applying this principle that we're talking about today, which is that it was about letting go. It was about letting go of any attempt at achievement. There was nothing to achieve in meditation. There is nothing to achieve in meditation. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to achieve in healing. Mm-hmm. There just isn't. It's all about releasing the tension, the need to protect ourselves. Like, so I got a banner. Do you want to share a comment yet? Or okay. So yeah, it's about it's about letting go of control. We could spend the whole hour on just that, letting go of control, right? About letting go of protection. So the need to protect ourselves, like, we've been through rough times, right? There's been things that happen in our lives that have been difficult.
Well, you're like a light sensitivity, you couldn't let go of protection.
Yeah, I was trying to protect myself from everything. Mm-hmm. Because I was going through a very difficult period. There was a lot of abuse, right? Mm-hmm. There was a lot of tragedy going on in my life. Mm-hmm. And so at every moment I was trying to protect myself. And so my body got the message, like, protect, right? Mm-hmm. Protect against everything all the time. Mm-hmm. So that included the light, right? Mm-hmm. Just bright light, right? So, okay, sure, yeah, it's looking at the sun, it can be a little bright. You want to put sunglasses on. But my body interpreted that brightness as a threat. Mm-hmm. And so I would put up my guard, my protection mechanism would engage. And that then led to a sensitivity, an overreaction to the light, right? Mm-hmm. So that's created the photosensitivity, mm-hmm. right? So I was actually afraid of the light. I became afraid of it, to the bright mm-hmm. light. So that, it sounds crazy, I know, but it happens, right? So, mm-hmm. And the way out of that was absolutely not by trying to forget about the brightness or trying to push away any feeling I had that had to do with responding to it, right? Mm-hmm. Trying to fight the fight, right? Because the protection would go up and then I try to fight it. That does not work, right? So anything that was an attempt at achieving something would not work. And if I were to step back and look at it, it's actually kind of obvious, because I grew up being perfectly able to drive and operate in the bright sun, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like I needed to achieve something, right? Mm-hmm. It was already there. Mm-hmm. I became sensitive, mm-hmm. and then I learned how to not be sensitive, right? How to let go of it. Mm-hmm. That's a better way of saying that. I didn't learn how to not be sensitive. That doesn't work. So scratch that. I let go of any attempt at trying to make things better. I just accepted the things as they are, and I was grateful for the opportunity to be out in the light and that kind of stuff, the sunlight, and so that allowed me to heal from it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So so protection, control, fear, the need to be right is part of this as well. Right. So that and doing it my way, those kinds of things get wrapped up into that mindset
Mm-hmm.
of being of protection, of fear that leads to protection, and that trying to stop anything bad from happening, which is what that's all about, right? That doing it my way and need to be right, and that comes into self-importance as well, that kind of stuff. So all of those things, if we let go of them, then that authentic self can come through. The part of us that already knows how to heal ourselves, right? So yeah.
So we have comments here.
So I think what Anissa is saying is that she agrees with us. I think is what she's saying through here. Yeah.
So we're taught to.
So thank you for that.
That we need to keep doing to be, when really all we have to do is be.
Is be.
Is be.
Hence why we are human beings. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's exactly it, right?
Yeah. So it's just like our society and what we learn is we get lots of disempowering messages, and it's not because they are bad people, bad parents, and bad teachers. It's just we are in a way we are like we observe everything, and a negative message can be powerful and shocking, and then it stays with us sometimes, right? And so we receive, and it stays in us, and it becomes block, and then the subconscious mind is running with the block, and so it's just subconscious mind keeps those blocks up all the time. So we disconnect, and more and more if we don't deal with those blocks, right? So and then we are going away from our authentic power, which is away from our healing power. So letting go and letting go and letting go our old self and our old beliefs that we're not good enough and we're less than, those things, letting go, we don't have the power, let go of those things. And I am sick, and I'm trying this hard and it's not working. That must be this thing is so hard, and I cannot get there easily, right? Those things, it's kind of the ego thinking, right? This must be really, really hard because I'm not getting the result, right? So, and then, you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, yeah, it actually, the more that we do things and it doesn't lead to the result that we want, there's a tendency for us to think, oh, then it must be almost impossible to overcome. It must be an even bigger monster than I thought. So and make it into a bigger achievement that's required, and instead of doing the opposite, which is to simply not fight it, right? Is to shift the strategy into being who and what we are, into letting and to simply let and to appreciating life as it is, no matter what it is, And I know that's not easy in itself, because there can be pain, right?
Mm-hmm.
There can be pain in your current situation, and so it may not be. Uh, uh, it may require time and practice
Mm-hmm.
before that new way of doing things becomes your new normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like with meditation, for example, it takes practice. It takes to connect to that way of being, and then it takes practice to bring that way of being into daily life. Those are all like steps in the process that are all about being and not about achieving, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we get frustrated because we try to do things and it doesn't lead to what we want,
Mm-hmm.
what we forget is our normal.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, we might be doing really positive things for a little
Mm-hmm.
while, and then we say, okay, and then that's as much as I can do for now. And then, an hour later, well, I'm still in pain. Well, in that hour, did we return to our normal way, which is resenting and fighting with life, and like being frustrated with being in pain and all those kinds of things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So are we fighting the problem for an hour after we did some positive things, and then wonder why it's not what we want it to be, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have to be very cognizant and careful with what our normal is.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a long process for me. Still working on it. I still get frustrated with things,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on with the tools and trying to fix something and it doesn't work, or
Mm-hmm.
something in the computer. I can, technology. Like today, I just messed up with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I could have gotten frustrated. I didn't. We just, adapted. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Like still sometimes you think healing is hard, right? That was one of the things that strong thing for you is healing is not easy. Yes, because you dealt with it for years and decades, and it's not working. So it must be hard, and it cannot be easy. And and so if you say it's not easy, then you're making it harder, right?
So it's like the switch from when I was healing from the concussion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, Driving now for me is quite easy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But allowing it to be easy was a process.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we absolutely recognize as a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a process,
Mm-hmm.
but it's doesn't mean that healing is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It is. How would you describe it?
So maybe it has been hard for for someone right, up to here, but that doesn't mean it's going to be hard um, moving forward. So it has been hard because you weren't letting go. You were trying to achieve, and you're trying to be someone else, and then you're ignoring your own power. You're disempowering yourself. That's why it has been hard. Now you can change and accept yourself, trust your power, and know that you have the power. Then uh, all you need to do is to connect to that power and be yourself, and let the power come out, and let the healing happens, instead of you trying to get there, and then you're ignoring the whole power here, right? So it has been hard. That doesn't mean it's hard.
So the active, so the transitional period then is that process that I was referring to. It's, I think the good way to describe it is that it's a practice. It's not hard. It's a practice.
Yeah.
It's discipline.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a practice.
Mm-hmm.
And you're saying you just need to connect to it. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, like even for myself,
Mm-hmm.
on the other side of things, what does it mean to connect to it? How do I connect to it? I don't know how to connect to it.
Yeah.
So that's why it feels like an achievement.
Yeah. And
but that connection, it comes with the practice.
yeah,
Right?
and
So
trust in your power.
The trust in your power.
That's a practice.
So that too. Yeah, that brings us back to faith, right? As well, and we talked about that in the previous video, where for us, faith is about learning over time that you with experience that things lead in the right direction, and therefore you can risk a bit more of yourself going in that direction. So I always use the analogy of going out on the pond in the winter when the ice is there, right? Is the ice thick enough? It's a matter, to a certain degree, it's a matter of faith, right? At some point, there needs to be a risk taken to go out on the ice. And so what do? You test it, right? You throw the rock out there at first and put some gentle pressure on it, part of your body weight, and eventually, if it's holding, then you put more of your body weight on it, and you're building faith through experience that what you're doing, you're getting the feedback as you're going along, is going in a safe right direction, right? Going in a positive direction. So yes, faith is part of that. Practice is part of that. So the practice is, gently putting more and more pressure on the ice, or in a less abstract way, like with the meditation, it's about the practice of connecting to that way of allowing our own power to come through. And how did I do that in meditation? I did it through simply being grateful for the way things are, and simply appreciating things as perfect the way they are, right? Just perfect the way they are. And so it sounds maybe crazy simple, but it is that simple, right? That getting from being in pain and suffering to a place where it's not even a problem, like it was with the concussion. It was a process, and I wouldn't be able to understand what you mean by you just connect to it, right? I would interpret that in the past as, oh, that means achieving something to connect to it, right?
It sounds like I just told you that you have to connect to it. It's very simplified way. I didn't just say that. I explained so many things. You are trying to achieve. You are trying to be someone else, and then all those things I said today, like you are ignoring your power. You are trying to go somewhere while it's all within you, and then you are. The more you try to go somewhere, the more you are away from the power.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that all those things I have said that. It's not like that.
I know.
It sounded like I'm
trying to drill down in here for people so that it's very as clear as we can make it.
Yeah. But so like I can see like when you do meditation, and I can feel that you are going away. Even you said, oh, that was great meditation, and I've been doing great, and I'm making improvement in meditation, and you are excited, and then I'm feeling, okay, he's going off the track, and I'm feeling it, and should I say it or should I not? And then soon enough you go boom, and then the way I was feeling, oh, he's gonna hit the wall, and should I warn it? Should I just let him hit the wall, right? And then lots of times I don't want to be a messenger if I'm not asked to be, right? I'm just your wife, and I don't want to be doing the reading, and you shouldn't be doing that way. You should go this way and you should do this, and
Mhm.
right, I don't want to be that, so I'll just be quiet and let you walk the path that you are choosing, and then you hit the wall and Satomi, what's going on?
Mm.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling. And then that's like when you are trying to achieve and trying to get somewhere and then trying to reach something, and that's always, and with meditation that was a big one. You
Mhm.
want to achieve and get better and better.
Well, they talk about achieving enlightenment, right? And I think that's an oxymoron.
Hmm.
All my experience is that's an oxymoron.
That's what you are
There is
doing.
there is no achievement.
Yeah.
Right. So it just like we started with this video, there isn't an achievement in enlightenment. There isn't an achievement in natural healing. There just isn't. So it is simply about getting out of the way of our authentic self. That's really what it comes down to.
Mm-hmm.
So let's just touch on these other aspects here. One other really important part of this is by letting go of the past, right? So if we're carrying our old story with us,
Mm-hmm.
right, all the pain that we've been through, the suffering, the broken relationships, whatever the case may be, that stuff is certainly going to stand in the way of us being our authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
Because what we're doing then is when we focus on that in any way, when we give that our attention, we tell that story to ourselves or to others, then we're keeping that old pain alive,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're keeping that old limited way of looking at things. Like, I could have been okay, except that person did such bad things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we totally recognize that negative stuff happens and it impacts us, right? And then we may need to go through a process of healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's been what I've been doing my whole life here. But by blaming someone else and by focusing on that story of where the experience that I went through, it did nothing to help me, right?
Mm-hmm.
It only limited me. It only disconnected me from being in this moment and being part of the magic of this moment,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's what it does. And then as soon as you're disconnected from that, then you're not connecting to your authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
You're not connecting to healing, just like you're saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that letting go of your old story is so important. Anything you can do, staying in the present moment, forgiveness of others. People think that forgiveness is a favor that you're doing for somebody else. It's not.
Favor you're doing for yourself.
For yourself, right?
You're letting yourself off the hook from the pain that you
Yes.
experienced.
Yes.
Yeah. And then forgiving self that's on the screen,
Yes.
right? There's so many different angle of that, but forgive that, like when you experience serious illnesses and fighting for so many years, and then if somebody say, "Oh, you just let go of the old self and you will be able to heal," and like then someone would take it like all I was doing was wrong, right? I created the issue by having those blocks, right? So blocks being created to protect yourself, and you needed those blocks in the past to survive and to keep going.
Yeah.
But once the blocks are built in subconscious mind, it stays in subconscious mind until you remove it, right? So and then you don't know it because it's there, subconscious mind, and you can't see it, you don't feel it, you're not aware, right? So it's not really like your fault. It happened, you needed it, but some things you don't need anymore, and because you don't need anymore, it becomes the negative blocks,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not protecting you, actually, it's creating some issues,
Mm-hmm.
right? So forgiving yourself for not knowing that you had those blocks. Now maybe you can become aware what kind of blocks you have, right? By doing muscle testing. That's one example. Something that you are afraid of, right? You are not good at something, and people are doing same thing so easily, and for you it's not easy. Those are some subconscious blocks holding you back, right? And so being aware, oh, I have blocks, and those one I don't need anymore. I can just let go of those ones, right? Forgiving yourself for not realizing, and be grateful for those blocks that did some job in the past, right? And thank you very much, but I don't need those blocks anymore.
When we go through those crises in our life, we do need that protection, right? And those things that we use are essential at that time.
Yeah, especially when you're kids, right?
Yeah, if there's
you're
abuse
vulnerable,
that happens,
right? And then people are giants and you are small. You need some protection, right? And but those comes with us in the subconscious mind,
even when we're adults.
Yeah. So forgiving yourself for keeping them, it just because you didn't know, right? And just being grateful for that blocks being there when you need it, and then say thank you, I don't need them anymore. Now I can connect to my inner power by letting go, and so I can let my body heal, right? So those that happens, healing happens naturally, like we know when we cut our hand, it's gonna heal. Depends on the cut, but if it's a small one, it heals itself, right? Even if it's a big one, you might need stitches, and you might put some cream to help, but at the end, your body is using its healing power to heal itself. Stitches, it's just putting uh, together, skin together, right? It's not, stitches not gonna heal the scar, but the scar, you were able to heal the scar because we have the healing power, right? We get the cold, but we not gonna stay sick for the rest of our life because we have the healing power, right? So we all do have healing power, and sometimes yes, we need some help from doctors, but at the end, we all using our healing power, and then trusting that we have it, knowing that we have it opens the door to that power, and you start to connect more and more, right? Yeah.
So should we go into this, or
Or if it's a big one, we can wrap up soon.
yeah, maybe we'll leave that one to next time, because it's so related. Like it'd be nice to connect it to this one, but it's so related. Or it's a big one. It's really related to this one. But anyway, yeah. So these things are can be big challenges in our lives, right? They can be a lot to work with, and if you are running up against difficult stuff, it has to do with limiting subconscious thoughts. But let's see, is there an exercise we can give today? So
Gratitude.
yeah, I think so. I think being grateful
for who you are.
And yeah, and just how things are right at this moment, right? I think that's because that's and that can be a meditation, right? It's a great way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know that people talk about this a lot with gratitude as an exercise, but you can do that in your meditation as well, right? So you can be grateful for what? So you can be grateful for things exactly as they are.
Mm-hmm.
Just that. Just no matter what is going on, you got random thoughts coming into your mind. Be grateful for them. Just be recognize them for what they are. Let them go and be grateful for them. They're reminding you to be aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to keep that level of awareness, right? And it gets better over time as you practice that, so that those thoughts become less and less and less and less.
You mean negative thoughts?
Any kind of like when you're meditating.
When you meditate.
Yeah, any kind of you start drifting off, right, into just thinking problems through or whatever the case may be, right, life circumstance. So just being grateful for them showing up to remind you to be aware, right?
Mm-hmm.
Keep that awareness, and you can kind of treat it with a little bit of humor, but instead of the frustration and instead of doubling down on the trying to not have those random thoughts pop into your head, just simply being grateful for exactly things as they are, everything you're experiencing in that moment in your meditation, is and it can be an absolute game changer, right? And you can apply this to everything in your life, to going through life, being grateful for the way things are. We talked about this, life's got lots of challenges, right? And we can look at them as problems or as an opportunity. And that's what this is an application of. So if you look at the world as it is and you're grateful for it, why would you be grateful? Well, there's an opportunity in there somewhere, right? So when you're meditating, like the opportunity is that, it's a reminder to be aware, right?
Yeah, so
that's an opportunity.
You have a choice to be grateful or to be, let's say, frustrated, right?
Yeah.
Or angry.
Mm-hmm.
If you have the same situation, you have a choice. If you're frustrated, you can feel the frustration, negative, heavy energy going through in you, right? That's disempowering. Like frustration doesn't help, and then it's actually making it worse because you are running through negative energy through your body. And being grateful, on the surface it doesn't change much, but the inner feeling when you're grateful, you have this positive energy running through your body, so it's empowering yourself, and then the door to your healing power will be open, and then healing, you are letting the healing power to come out by being grateful, right? It doesn't change this moment on the surface visually, right? Physically, like being grateful. Oh, now I have a big whole house. Now I have tiny apartment, and just being grateful. Now I'm this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or I had broken leg, and I'm being grateful. Or it's gone. I have a perfect leg. It's not that, but it's opening a door to be that way, right? By being grateful, because
you're allowing the opportunity for that to come to you, right?
Yeah.
You're not. It's not just going to throw a switch and it's automatically instantly going to be there, but you're opening up you're creating the space for it to come into. Yes.
Yeah. So if that's what's happening, you are disempowering yourself or you're empowering yourself. Those are the two options. Which one you want to take? Of course, empowering one. And that's the key to healing. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So And if the stuff is you'd like to know more about it, you'd like to work with us on this stuff, because it can be very, there can be circumstances that you're facing that may be kind of hard to translate what we're talking about into that. We're trying our best here, but you can schedule some time with us on a free breakthrough session, and we'll help you create a plan for getting through those issues. So come by our website and you can schedule that session. And we'll see you right here. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you right here next week on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern. And take care, everyone. Thank you for being here. Bless you.
Thank you.
Subscribe.
Bye-bye.
Share. Like.